There are moments in life when silence becomes thunder, when the quiet hours of the night suddenly scream with questions you cannot answer, with memories you thought you buried, and with wounds that were supposed to have healed. And in those moments you wonder if life has singled you out for suffering, if the universe has written your name on some hidden scroll and declared this one must walk through fire. But I want you to hear me clearly tonight. That mark on your soul is not a curse. It is proof. Proof that you are one of the chosen. Proof that you have survived what was designed to break you. Proof that your destiny is not ordinary, because ordinary souls do not face extraordinary storms. You have walked through shadows darker than words can capture. You have tasted betrayal so bitter, it left you questioning your worth. People you trusted spoke daggers behind your back. Friends you thought were family turned their faces away when you cried for help. And some of you listening now carry the ache of abandonment so deep that even your reflection feels like a stranger. You wonder why you had to suffer so much, why the nights stretched long with loneliness, why the walls closed in with silence, why God seemed so far. But beloved, suffering has a strange language. It is the language of those who have been set apart. When you were being crushed, heaven was watching. When you felt forsaken, you were not abandoned, you were hidden. The enemy thought you were weak because you cried. The world thought you were finished because you fell. But what they did not understand is that tears are not weakness. They are proof you are still alive. Falling is not failure. It is evidence you are still in the fight. And that dark night of the soul you thought would destroy you was actually the womb of transformation. You see, every scar on your heart is not just a reminder of pain. It is a map leading you back to yourself. It is the handwriting of destiny across your chest. And the reason your journey has been so heavy is because your calling is not light. You were never meant for shallow waters. You were always destined for oceans. That is why you drowned in pain deeper than most could imagine. That is why your spirit bled in silence. Because God was preparing you for heights that ordinary wings cannot reach. Listen carefully. There is a divine paradox written into your story. The deeper you were broken, the higher you will rise. The more you were silenced, the louder your voice will carry. The more you were rejected, the more undeniable your presence will become. What was meant to bury you will become the soil that raises you. What was meant to humiliate you will become the stage that exalts you. And what was meant to be your ending will become your beginning. I know you have asked, why me? Why did betrayal knock on your door? Why did loneliness linger? Why did pain choose you? And the answer is this: because the crown you carry cannot be forged in comfort. It must be shaped in fire. Diamonds are not born in soft places. They are pressed in silence, in darkness, under weight that seems unbearable. And you, chosen one, are no different. You were pressed until the old you cracked open. You were broken until your soul shined through the fractures. You were hidden until the right time. And that time, beloved, is now approaching. Can you feel it? That stirring in your chest, like the ground beneath you is shifting. That quiet voice that says something new is coming, even though your eyes cannot yet see it. That is not your imagination. That is heaven whispering to you. That is destiny calling. That is the Spirit reminding you that your story is not over. What you thought was death was only preparation. What you thought was punishment was actually protection. God allowed certain doors to close, certain people to leave, certain seasons to collapse, because had they stayed, they would have suffocated the future He is bringing to you. Do not mourn what has walked away. Do not mourn what has ended. For everything that crumbled was clearing the path for something greater. And though the pain is real, though the wounds still sting, you are still here, still breathing, still listening, still rising. That alone is victory. For you must understand, there are those who faced half your battles and never stood again, but you are still standing. That is what makes you different. That is what marks you as chosen. And yes, I know the loneliness has been unbearable. I know the nights were long when you cried into pillows that carried secrets no one will ever hear. I know the mornings when you woke with a weight in your chest and a question in your mind, can I really keep going? But even then, even in the moments when your spirit felt like dust, you kept moving. Even when you wanted to give up, something in you whispered just one more day. That something was not your strength. It was divine grace carrying you when you thought you had nothing left. And that grace is not finished yet. There is an impending transformation, a shift in the unseen, a rearrangement in the spiritual realm, a move of God that is about to bring everything into alignment. You may not see it with your eyes yet, but in your spirit, you know it is near. And the very fact that you are hearing these words right now is no accident. It is confirmation. Heaven is saying, do not fear the change. Do not fear the storm. Do not fear the shaking. Because what is coming is not destruction, it is deliverance. Your enemies mistook your silence for defeat. They thought the storm swallowed you whole. They celebrated too soon, laughed too loudly, mocked too carelessly. But what they forgot is this: the chosen cannot be destroyed, they can only be delayed. And your delay has ended. The time for unveiling is near. You are about to rise, not in secret, but in sight of those who doubted you. And when you rise, they will know it was never you alone. It was God's hand all along. So hold your head high, even with tears in your eyes. Walk forward, even if your legs still tremble, because the story is not finished, and the author of your destiny does not write tragedy without resurrection. You are living proof that survival is the seed of transformation. You are chosen, not by accident, not by chance, but by divine decree. And everything you have walked through, every betrayal, every night of silence, every heartbreak, was preparing you for what is about to come. You did not stumble into this fire by mistake. The battles you faced were not random events scattered across your path. They were deliberate encounters, tailor-made to shape you, to test you, to burn away what was never meant to stay. Think back for a moment to the seasons where every door slammed shut in your face, where every friend you trusted turned into a ghost, where your prayers seemed to dissolve in the air before reaching heaven. That was not abandonment, it was the battlefield. You were standing in a war invisible to the human eye, and though your body grew weary, your soul was forged in those flames. Every betrayal was a sword drawn against you. Every whisper of gossip was an arrow shot in the dark. Every rejection was a stone hurled at your spirit. And yet here you are. The arrows did not kill you. The stones did not bury you. The swords cut deep, yes, but instead of bleeding you dry, they carved out space for wisdom, resilience, and fire. You may have scars, but scars are not signs of defeat. They are the medals of the battlefield, the marks that say, this one has endured. You must understand, chosen soul, that the very intensity of your battles proves your significance. Thieves do not break into empty houses. Wolves do not chase after the weak. They go after the strong because the strong are worth conquering. The fact that you have been targeted so heavily is evidence of the treasure you carry. The enemy saw your potential long before you did. Darkness recognized the light in you and tried to smother it before you could even name it. That is why you felt attacked since childhood. That is why, even as an adult, you walked with chains, invisible to others, but heavy as stone to your own heart. You were never ordinary prey. You were always a target because you were always chosen. Think of those nights you almost gave up. Nights when despair wrapped its hands around your throat and whispered, "End it here. Stop fighting." But somehow, you rose again. You dragged yourself out of bed. You took one more step. You whispered one more prayer. That was not weakness. That was your soul refusing to surrender. That was heaven holding you upright when you thought you would collapse. And even in those moments of silence, when you thought no one saw your struggle, God was watching. He saw the tears you hid from others. He heard the groans you buried under your breath. He counted every sleepless night, every broken promise, every dream that died. And He has not forgotten. Beloved, understand this. Your adversaries laughed when you stumbled, but heaven wept. Your enemies thought your silence was proof of defeat, but God saw it as the calm before the unveiling. They thought they were mocking you in secret, but every whisper was heard in the courts of heaven, and those whispers have become the evidence. You have endured enough humiliation, enough ridicule, enough betrayal. The time of rising is near, and those who laughed in the dark will tremble in the light. You see, there is a holy irony written into your destiny. The very people who plotted against you are about to witness your ascension. Those who thought they destroyed you are about to watch you flourish. The ones who pushed you down will be unable to comprehend how you stand taller than ever. This is the justice of God. It is not silent, and it is not hidden. It is loud, it is public, it is undeniable. And the trembling of your enemies has already begun. Do you feel it? The shift in the atmosphere around you, the sudden unease of those who once mocked your name, it is because their spirits sense what their minds cannot yet explain. They can feel the weight of divine favor returning to you. They can sense that the hand of God is moving on your behalf. And though they cannot name it, they cannot stop it. All the while you are changing. Look at yourself honestly. You are not the same person who entered the fire. You are wiser now, more discerning, more resilient. You recognize red flags you used to ignore. You guard your energy with the vigilance of one who has learned the cost of misplaced trust. You walk differently, you think differently, you even love differently. And that change is not temporary, it is permanent. It is proof that nothing you endured was wasted. Every storm has taught you something. Betrayal taught you discernment. Rejection taught you self-worth. Loneliness taught you strength. Loss taught you gratitude. And pain taught you how to rise. No school, no book, no teacher could have given you that wisdom. It had to be lived. It had to be carried. And now it is yours. It is etched into your spirit like sacred ink, a testament that you have walked where others perished. The battles you faced were brutal, but they were not meaningless. They were divine training. They were the preparation ground for the life you are about to step into. And though you may still feel the weight of exhaustion, do not mistake fatigue for defeat. You are not defeated. You are seasoned. You are not broken. You are battle-tested. And the very forces that tried to shatter you are now trembling because they realize something terrifying. Their efforts have only made you stronger. Imagine a soldier who returns from war scarred, weary, but undefeated. That soldier carries a presence, a gravity that cannot be faked. You are that soldier. Your presence now unsettles those who once thought they had power over you. They cannot look you in the eye because they know what you have walked through. They know they threw their worst at you, and you are still here. That survival alone is victory. So lift your chin, chosen soul. Stand in the knowledge of what you have endured. Do not minimize your battles, for they are the very proof of your calling. Do not belittle your scars, for they are the very proof of your strength. And do not fear the trembling of your enemies, for their fear is confirmation of your rise. Because the truth is undeniable. You have faced the fire and you have not burned. You have been struck but not destroyed. You have been mocked but not erased. And now the tide is turning. Heaven has already decided in your favor, and nothing, no whisper, no scheme, no betrayal can overturn it. Your story is not one of defeat. It is one of survival, transformation, and glory. You are the proof that what was designed to break you has failed. And soon the world will see that the very battles that tried to bury you have only prepared you for the heights you are destined to climb. There comes a moment when heaven stops taking notes and starts issuing verdicts. For too long, the scales seemed uneven, the wicked seemed to prosper, and those who mocked your tears seemed to celebrate while you sat in silence. But hear me clearly, that season is closing. The judge of all things has risen from his throne, and justice is about to be revealed, not in secret, not hidden in the shadows, but in public view. The same way you were shamed in front of others, you will now be honored in front of others. The same way you were whispered about in hidden rooms, your victory will now echo across open spaces. God is about to balance the scales. For every humiliation, there will be restoration. For every betrayal, there will be honor. For every season of lack, there will be overflow. This is not poetic exaggeration. This is the law of reversal, a divine principle that has always governed the lives of the chosen. Think of Joseph, thrown into a pit by his brothers, sold into slavery, falsely accused, and locked away in prison. For years, it looked like injustice had won. But in one moment, just one shift, he was lifted from prison to palace, from forgotten to favored, from mocked to exalted. And the very brothers who betrayed him had to bow before him. Do you see it? The pattern repeats because the God who wrote Joseph's story is also writing yours. You have endured the mockery of those who thought your silence meant weakness. You have endured the weight of battles no one applauded you for surviving. You have endured nights of hunger, days of confusion, years of wandering. And now heaven is declaring, it is time, the reversal is here. What was against you will now work for you. What was denied will now be offered. What was delayed will now be delivered. Let me be precise. This will not be a quiet blessing. It will not be something you can hide under the table or whisper about in passing. No, this blessing will be visible. It will be loud. It will be undeniable. Because the same way your pain was visible, your vindication must also be visible. That is the justice of heaven. It restores not only what was stolen, but also the dignity that was stripped away. And while God is preparing this reversal, He is also tending to the deepest parts of your soul. The wounds you thought would never heal are being touched by His hand even now. The bitterness you carried like poison in your veins is being drained away. The anger that hardened your heart is softening into peace. The shame that silenced your voice is being replaced with boldness. Healing is not just coming, it is happening. Right here, right now, in the sound of these words, something inside you is shifting. You will look back at your scars and no longer weep. You will testify. You will tell your story not with trembling but with power, because what once was your greatest pain will become your greatest platform. That is how God works. He takes the broken and makes it beautiful. He takes the rejected and makes them rulers. He takes the silenced and makes them voices for nations. And you, chosen one, are next. There is victory written over your life. Not a fragile victory that fades in a moment, but an eternal one. The kind of victory that cannot be undone, cannot be stolen, cannot be erased. And when it comes, your enemies will have no choice but to acknowledge it. They may never apologize. They may never admit they're wrong, but their silence in the face of your rising will speak louder than their words ever could. This is the hour when your tears turn into triumph. This is the season when your waiting turns into walking. This is the moment when the tables turn in your favor. You are not forgotten, not abandoned, not overlooked. You are chosen, and chosen ones do not remain in the valley forever. They are lifted in due time by the very hand of God. Now I must ask you, are you ready to receive what you prayed for? Are you prepared to step into the very blessings you once doubted could ever be yours? Because sometimes the greatest barrier is not the enemy, it is our own disbelief. We become so accustomed to pain that we mistrust joy. We become so familiar with scarcity that abundance feels foreign. We become so tied to betrayal that genuine love feels threatening. But hear me, you cannot carry yesterday's fears into tomorrow's blessings. The new requires a new you. The shift demands a surrender. So open your heart, beloved. Loosen your grip on the pain of the past because it cannot follow you where you are going. Release the bitterness because it cannot breathe in the air of your next season. Step forward even if your legs tremble. even if your voice shakes, because God is calling you higher. And no matter what has been against you, His word over your life will not return empty. It will accomplish everything it was sent to do. This is your confirmation. You are about to walk into the very thing you thought you lost. You are about to see the reversal you thought was impossible. You are about to taste joy that feels almost unreal. And when it comes, you will know it was not your strength, not your cleverness, not your strategy. It was grace, pure, undeniable, unstoppable grace. So let this be your declaration. I am not a victim of my past. I am not defined by betrayal. I am not silenced by rejection. I am not broken beyond repair. I am the chosen, and I will rise. Say it until your spirit believes it. Say it until your bones carry it. Say it until the air around you vibrates with it, because your words carry power and heaven is listening. Now, beloved soul, take this moment not just as comfort, but as a call to action. Do not hide your light any longer. Do not shrink yourself to make others comfortable. Do not silence your voice to protect fragile egos. Step forward boldly. Speak your truth. Share your story. Let the world see the fire that has been burning inside you all along, because when you rise, others will rise with you. When you shine, others will find their way. And that is the true victory, that your survival does not just save you, it saves others. The change is here, the shift is near, and nothing can stop what has been divinely appointed for you. So walk forward, chosen one, with courage in your heart and fire in your eyes. For the time of victory is not coming, it has already begun. It is easy to believe that the attacks you faced were personal, that they came simply because someone disliked you, envied you, or misunderstood you. And while that is partly true, the deeper reality is far more profound. You were not attacked merely because of who you are, you were attacked because of what you carry. People often sense light before they can name it. They recognize favor before they can explain it. And instead of celebrating what is divine, the human instinct, twisted by insecurity, is often to attack it. From the earliest days of your journey, you carried something different. Maybe you didn't see it, but others did. Your presence unsettled those who had settled for mediocrity. Your resilience annoyed those who had surrendered to defeat. Your vision disrupted those who lived in blindness. And because they could not control it, they tried to destroy it. But here is the paradox. In attempting to destroy you, they only proved your significance. It is one of the strangest laws of life. The greater your purpose, the greater your resistance. Butterflies do not face storms in the cocoon, only when they are ready to fly. Diamonds are not attacked in the ground, only when they are mined. And the chosen are not resisted in silence, but in their awakening. The reason you felt the weight of so many battles is because every step you took toward your destiny sent ripples into the unseen world. Those ripples disturbed forces content with keeping you small. This is why betrayal came not from strangers, but from those you trusted most. The enemy does not waste energy where there is no intimacy. It is those closest to you who have the access to cut the deepest. And it is through those wounds that the test is sharpened. You wondered why they turned against you, why love soured into bitterness, why friendship curdled into envy. The answer lies in the psychology of broken souls. When they cannot match your growth, they seek to cage it. When they cannot dim your light, they seek to smear it. When they cannot understand your favor, they seek to deny it. But take heart, beloved. None of this was wasted. None of this caught heaven by surprise. Each betrayal became a mirror showing you who was for you and who was never meant to walk with you. Each rejection peeled away the false to reveal the true. Each attack stripped you of illusions and forced you to see with clarity. And though the pain was sharp, the gift was priceless. You learned who you are and who you are not. You learned what matters and what never did. There is another paradox at work here. The very things that should have destroyed you became the soil for your growth. Loss taught you resilience. Loneliness taught you intimacy with yourself and with God. Failure taught you wisdom that success never could. The storms that came to drown you became the waters that carried you further. You did not just survive them, you were shaped by them. And that shaping is what qualifies you for your mission. You see, the soul does not awaken in ease. It awakens in disruption. Had life been gentle, had love been perfect, had success come easily, you would not have grown into the depth you now carry. You would not have learned compassion for the broken, patience for the weary, or faith for the impossible. Your scars are your teachers, and your suffering has become your schooling. And now you walk with a wisdom that no book could ever give. There is something else you must know. The psychology of those who opposed you is not truly about you. It is about them. Broken people cannot celebrate others' healing. Insecure people cannot handle others' confidence. Small-minded people cannot fathom big visions. So when they mocked you, it was not your weakness they laughed at. It was their fear reflected back to them. When they rejected you, it was not because you lacked value. It was because your value reminded them of what they had neglected in themselves. And when they tried to silence you, it was not because your voice was empty. It was because your voice carried truth they did not want to hear. This is why you must release the anger, the bitterness, the desire for revenge. Their behavior was never about your worth. It was about their wounds. And though they may never see it, you can choose to understand it. That does not mean you excuse it. That does not mean you return to them, but it does mean you reclaim your power by refusing to let their shadows live rent-free in your soul. You are not defined by their treatment. You are defined by your calling. And your calling is greater than you imagine. The reason your road has been steep is because your destination is high. The reason Mama and your battles have been fierce is because your mission is significant. You were not created to blend in. You were created to disrupt, to heal, to awaken, to bring light where darkness thought it had won. That is why you carry the weight of empathy that others cannot bear. That is why you sense the pain of people even when they do not speak it. That is why your heart burns when you see injustice, why your spirit rises when you encounter lies. You are not just surviving, you are sent. Everything you have endured connects to this mission. Every wound has given you a language to reach the wounded. Every rejection has given you compassion for the rejected. Every failure has given you patience for those still stumbling. You are not just walking your path, you are paving it for others. And though you may not see it fully yet, every step you take in authenticity, in courage, in faith, becomes a beacon for someone else. So when you ask, why me? The answer is both simple and profound, because your soul agreed to this before you ever breathed your first breath, because the world needs what only you carry, because heaven chose you not for comfort, but for impact. And though the attacks have been fierce, they have failed. You are still here, still chosen, still carrying the fire that darkness cannot extinguish. Remember this paradox. The very things meant to break you have built you. The very people who pushed you down have positioned you. The very seasons that stripped you bare have clothed you in wisdom. And what felt like the end was only the initiation into your true beginning. Now, as you stand at the edge of what is to come, let this truth settle deep into your bones. You were never ordinary. You were always set apart. And the proof is written in every storm you survived, every tear you shed, every scar you carry. Your mission is not small, your calling is not fragile, and your destiny cannot be denied. So here you are, standing at the threshold of everything that was promised, carrying the scars of your past but no longer defined by them. If you have heard nothing else today, let this settle deep into your spirit. You are the chosen one. Not chosen by accident, not chosen by the approval of men, but chosen by divine decree. Everything you endured, every storm you walked through, every betrayal you survived, it was all proof of this identity. You are marked, set apart, prepared. And though the road has been lonely, it has also been holy. The outcomes that lie ahead are not uncertain. They are certain. The same hand that carried you through the valley will carry you into the mountaintop. The same God who saw your tears will now fill your hands with joy. What once looked like loss will become testimony. What once felt like shame will transform into honor. What once seemed like silence will become the song of your soul. And every doubt you carried about whether you could ever rise again will dissolve in the reality of what you are about to witness. Do not fear what is ahead. The change that is coming is not here to crush you. It is here to crown you. The shift that unsettles others is the very shift that will establish you. The winds that once pushed against you are about to propel you. And though you may feel trembling in your legs and uncertainty in your chest, know this: God does not lift you to drop you. He lifts you to place you firmly, securely, undeniably in the space you were always meant to occupy. So breathe. Let the weight roll off your shoulders. You no longer need to fight for validation. You no longer need to beg for love that was never real. You no longer need to prove your worth to those who could never see it. You are chosen, and chosen ones do not chase, they attract. Chosen ones do not beg, they receive. Chosen ones do not collapse under pressure, they rise because of it. And that is who you are. Beloved soul, I invite you now to make a quiet decision. Decide that the past will no longer control you. Decide that bitterness will no longer drain you. Decide that fear will no longer silence you. And as you decide, heaven will align. Destiny responds to choice, and your choice to believe who you are is the key that opens the door to what is next. And as you walk through that door, walk with gentleness toward yourself. You have carried enough harshness, enough criticism, enough weight. Now it is time for tenderness. Speak to yourself with kindness. Treat your wounds with compassion. Celebrate your small steps, for they are just as holy as the great leaps. You are not in a race. You are in a journey, and every step is sacred. Let me leave you with this assurance: what is for you cannot be stolen. The season ahead is not fragile, it is firm. The blessings coming are not temporary, they are rooted. The joy that is rising will not vanish, it will multiply. And when you look back months from now, you will see that even the darkest nights were necessary to reveal the dawn. So rise, chosen one. Rise in faith. Rise in confidence. Rise in the knowing that you are not who you were yesterday. Rise with your head held high, with your heart wide open, with your spirit unafraid. The world has yet to see the fullness of who you are, but they will. And when they do, it will not be just your victory. It will be heaven's victory shining through you. Now I call you to step into this truth not only for yourself, but for others. Share your story. Shine your light. Speak your truth. There are people waiting for your courage to ignite their own. There are souls in darkness waiting for your flame to guide them. You are not just chosen for survival, you are chosen for impact, and the time to walk in that impact is now. If these words have resonated with you, do not let them remain just words. Breathe them in, carry them in your heart. And if you feel stirred, I invite you. Declare it aloud. Whisper it in your room, write it on your wall, speak it into the air. I am chosen, I am rising, I am ready. Because when you declare it, you align with it, and heaven rushes to meet the sound of your faith. And so, beloved, we come to a gentle close, not an ending, but a pause. For your story is still being written, your destiny still unfolding, your light still growing. As you leave this moment, take with you the certainty that you are not alone, that you are not forgotten, that you are not ordinary. You are chosen, and nothing can undo that truth. Go in peace, walk in strength, and let your life become the living proof that what was meant to break you only proved you were unbreakable. Until we meet again, carry this flame within you and never let it go.